The former producer is now confined to New York and Connecticut, reportedly wearing an ankle bracelet like this.
Ezra Miller.
Fans were shocked in 2020 when a video surfaced appearing to show Miller choking a woman in an altercation at a bar in Iceland.
Ezra Miller couldn't slow down in 2022, igniting controversy left and right. On a trip to Hawaii, Miller racked up charges such as harassment, disorderly conduct, and second-degree assault. Miller walked away with a restraining order and a $500 fine, but they didn't learn their lesson. Throughout the remainder of the year, Miller was accused of grooming and burglary. While Miller pleaded not guilty to the burglary charge, they pleaded guilty to a trespassing misdemeanor, receiving a year probation.
So to that count here, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Some argued that Miller got off easy, as Warner Brothers stood by the Flash star leading up to the film's premiere. Between that movie's historic financial failure and Miller's legal troubles, though, the industry seems to be turning on them, even recasting some of their roles.
While the allegations against the star continue to mount, Warner Brothers is still slated to release The Flash next year, despite canceling a slew of other projects.
Martha Stewart.
Welcome, Martha. Welcome to Alderson, West Virginia, the prison town that will be Martha Stewart's home for the next 5 months.
The face of a homemaking empire, Martha Stewart seemed like the last person who would find herself behind bars. That turned out not to be the case when Stewart sold her Imclone Systems shares, sparking an illegal insider trading investigation. In 2004, Stewart was found guilty of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and making false statements. Stewart only spent 5 months in prison with 2 years of probation, but some wondered if her reputation would recover. Yet it wasn't long until Stewart was back hosting TV shows, writing books, and even defining friendship goals with fellow ex-con Snoop Dogg. Whether or not Stewart's career actually benefited from the negative press, it's safe to say her prison stint didn't hurt.
I made, every now and then I would make jokes about...
I heard.
Yeah.
We had a TV.
Justin Timberlake. In 2007, Justin Timberlake accepted a Brit Award. During his pre-recorded speech, the pop star pleaded with a certain somebody to, quote, stop drinking, and that they were, quote, going to get sloppy.
You know who you are. I'm speaking to you. Stop drinking, you're gonna get sloppy.
While he didn't mention anybody by name, this clip would come back to haunt Timberlake and delight Britney Spears stans 17 years later. During the early hours of June 18, 2024 in the Hamptons, Timberlake was arrested for driving while intoxicated in addition to ignoring a stop sign and not staying in his lane.
But we didn't hear anything about any accidents or any other aggravating circumstances.
Timberlake allegedly claimed that he only had, quote, 1 martini, although he refused to take a chemical test 3 times. Within the next day, he was being arraigned while his mugshot was made public.
What is this song? Oh! What?
Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin.
2 actresses facing real-life drama in a cheating scandal made for Hollywood.
What do Lynette from Desperate Housewives and Aunt Becky from Full House share in common? That's right, they both have twin sons. The actresses behind these characters also have something in common: the 2019 Varsity Blues scandal. Huffman and Loughlin were among several others accused of buying their children's way into college.
Loughlin and her fashion designer husband are accused of paying $500,000 to guarantee admission for their 2 daughters into USC.
In Huffman's case, she reportedly paid someone $15,000 to take the SATs for her daughter. Huffman pleaded guilty to conspiracy, as did Loughlin. Along with fines and community service, both would do time. Huffman was sentenced to 14 days, serving only 12, while Loughlin faced a harsher punishment of 2 months. Since then, Loughlin made fun of herself on Curb Your Enthusiasm, while Huffman booked a guest spot on Criminal Minds Evolution.
Oh, you gotta give the guy your valet ticket.
Oh no, I'm good. I got this.
A handicap sticker?
It's fantastic. I can park anywhere.
Lindsay Lohan.
I want you to listen carefully. You were to serve 300 days in the county jail.
Substance use and an intrusive paparazzi didn't help Lindsay Lohan during her darkest hours. At the end of the day, though, her actions were her own. The actress was given plenty of chances, going to rehab following 1 DUI arrest, only to be caught driving under the influence again shortly after. While Lohan got off with probation and the shortest of jail stints, she repeatedly failed to meet the court's demands.
Fans and photographers tried to catch a glimpse of the young star as if they were watching a celebrity strut the red carpet.
For violating her probation, Lohan was ordered to spend 90 days in jail and another 3 months in inpatient rehab, although she only served 14 days supposedly because of overcrowding. Lohan later faced jail time for the theft of a necklace and violating probation, but overcrowding cut her stay short again and again.
I said I made a mistake. I went to a club, and then I drank and I drove home, and that's not the right thing to do. But to put someone in that position it was very scary. It was very jarring.
Paris Hilton.
In 14 years of doing this show, I have never experienced anything close to the reaction I get when I say the following sentence: Paris Hilton is in jail.
Paris Hilton is another name that couldn't stay out of the tabloids in the 2000s. In Hilton's case, she seemed to relish the mentality that any publicity is good publicity. Hilton's notoriety climaxed in 2006 when the LAPD caught her driving intoxicated. The heiress walked away with 3 years probation, a $1,500 fine, and a suspended license.
Really? It's really pretty incredible.
Actually, we guess you could say she drove away, as Hilton got caught speeding a month later, which was just one of her probation violations. The judge threw the book at Hilton. Of course, it was a thin book, with Hilton receiving 45 days in jail. 40 of those days were spent under house arrest, but Hilton seemingly learned her lesson until her next arrest in 2010.
In what way do you think you're taking back the narrative on this?
I feel that my narrative and story for the past 2 decades has been told by the media.
Jussie Smollett.
In a statement, Chicago police say they have not identified any suspect.
With the hit show Empire in its 5th season, Jussie Smollett seemed to have it all. Jamal Lyon was not only seen as a breakthrough role for Smollett, but a trailblazing character for LGBTQIA+ people of color. Those who looked up to Smollett started to sing a different tune after 2019. At first, it appeared that Smollett was the target of a hate crime at the hands of 2 brothers.
At 2 a.m., investigators say 2 men approached Smollett, who may have recognized the actor, yelling racial and homophobic slurs.
Upon further investigation, authorities deduced that Smollett orchestrated the whole thing, paying the brothers to participate in the so-called attack. While the initial charges against Smollett were thrown out, he'd soon face another indictment regarding the false report. In 2022, Smollett was sentenced to 150 days in jail, although he's still appealing 2 years later.
He spoke about his arrogance. He doesn't know the struggles my brother is encountering.
Elizabeth Holmes.
Her boast was serious diseases like cancer would be prevented before they happened.
Elizabeth Holmes built herself up as the Steve Jobs of the medical world, promising to change healthcare through her company Theranos. Investors, the government, and the public wanted to believe Holmes's blood tests were as revolutionary as she claimed. Maybe it was wishful thinking, but people were given various reasons to trust Holmes until a select few looked closer.
What is your view of that? That they're happy to go live with a system that's still being tested and is actually failing?
Yeah, it's unconscionable. It's unethical.
When Theranos was revealed to be a colossal hoax, Holmes's reputation and net worth were wiped out. Things only got worse for Holmes from there, being found guilty on 4 criminal fraud counts. Some were upset that Holmes wasn't also found guilty of defrauding patients, but a form of justice had been served, with the face of Theranos starting her 135-month prison sentence in May 2023.
Elizabeth Holmes set to report to prison in less than 24 hours to start her 11-year sentence.
Harvey Weinstein.
We're going to begin this half hour with the latest on Harvey Weinstein's arrest and a look at what his defense strategy may be as some of his accusers speak for the first time since he was charged.
The Me Too movement has shined a spotlight on numerous big names accused of abusing their power, including Bill Cosby, Danny Masterson, and R. Kelly. Yet no downfall shook up the industry more than Harvey Weinstein's. For decades, Weinstein's aggressive behavior was something of an open secret. It wasn't until dozens of women came forward in 2017 that many realized the full extent of Weinstein's crimes.
Weinstein is a vicious, serial sexual predator.
With his list of accusers eventually exceeding 100, Weinstein would be trialed in New York and Los Angeles, being found guilty in both cases. Weinstein's New York verdict was controversially overturned in 2024 due to, quote, egregious errors. A retrial has been ordered, but Weinstein is far from a free man, with his 16-year LA sentence still intact.
Once one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood, tonight Weinstein is now behind bars.
Donald Trump.
Count 1 is guilty. That is a felony charge. Count 1, falsifying business records. Count 2, also
guilty.
Donald Trump has faced a revolving door of court appearances since 2023, but the most prominent trial thus far concerned hush money allegedly paid to Stormy Daniels amid the 2016 election. On May 30th, 2024, the former president was found guilty on all 34 counts regarding falsifying business records.
Well, if he's guilty on 12, I'm going to assume he's going to be guilty on all 34 because it means that the jury bought what the prosecution's theory was.
This wasn't the first time Trump lost a high-profile case, being found liable for defamation and abuse against E. Jean Carroll only a few months earlier. However, this was Trump's first criminal conviction. What's more, Trump became America's first president turned felon. What's the most criminal example of entitlement you've ever witnessed on the celebrity circuit? Let us know in the comments.
What exactly happened? Tell people what exactly happened